Well, we've seen a couple of strides on the part of the government trying to upgrade infrastructure, especially in the transport sector. But I wanted to quickly start with the 2018 budget, where, of course, there's been that big delay on spending, especially on the capital vote side. Let's hear your thoughts or perspective on how this could impact on the plans that the federal government had to upgrade infrastructure going forward.
Okay, great strides so far. They've done pretty well. It's important to know that most of these projects actually started many, many years ago, even before the last administration. But this administration seems to be taking it on, taking on the gauntlet and pushing it to fruition. Now, speaking on how that the delay in the budget hasn't really affected it that much, because most of the funding is meant to come. It's meant to be borrowing actually, and the counterpart funding has been provided in some certain places. But yes, there has been some effect that delay has caused, but I don't think it has really moved the roadmap back that much. There's actually been a lot of progress under the current minister. The Abuja Light project that you actually mentioned, it was actually started by Obasanjo in 2006, and I think it was meant to be ready by 2014 for the Commonwealth Games. That was actually the first intention. But then it seems over the years, due to lack of funds or for whatever bureaucratic reasons, it has delayed. But we are happy to hear that by the end of this year, or by now, that is actually running. And we pray that that would also be replicated across the other major cities. Now, speaking on what the ministry has done, they've actually done a lot in that sector now. The Lagos-Kaduna project, Lagos-Kano, was also awarded in 2008 about that. But just within this space of how many years, we have seen the Abuja-Kaduna line completed. The Lagos to Ibadan is hoped to be done by the end of this month, according to the minister. He has promised that, by the end of this year. So he had promised that it's ready before the 2018 end. And luckily, or rather very, very, very good for us, last month, the Ibadan to Kaduna section was also awarded to ECC. So, and with the target of two to 3 years for completion. So we are seeing lots of traction, even down the narrow gauge rail lines, which has been awarded to GE, or rather concession to GE. There has been a lot that has gone into that, and that would be about 2,000 kilometers across the nation, across six states. That hasn't kicked off yet, to the best of our own knowledge, but we know that a lot of work is going on that too. And if they manage to wrap this all up and create this connectivity across the states, it will of course impact a lot on our economy, because right now, movement of goods, even across to other landlocked African countries, it's pretty difficult. We had the recent issue with the rail line passing through Daura that generated some criticism, but really it's in good faith, because that's actually the channel to Niger. So, by and large, I think the minister has done quite well in pushing this to fruition. And we hope that in the near future, we would have a robust rail sector. Going down the lane in history, we used to have a really good robust sector in the 60s. We had a tonnage of about 1.5 million in the 60s, but today we have less than 300,000. So we hope that this would kick up, and
okay.
The best for it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just chip in here. So we've had the Minister of Transportation on our channel a couple of times, and one thing that he keeps saying is that he keeps requesting for more funding than he's getting. So we know that funding remains a key issue. What funding strategies should Nigeria explore in terms of how it can bring some of these projects online a bit quicker? Because the timeline does seem to be a bit long.
Well, yes, you are totally right. The timeline seems to be, it seems to be taking too much time. But really, there is an extent to what they can do, and I believe they are already doing all that they can do. They are trying to concession a huge portion, and that way people like GE get to invest their own monies. I understand that GE will probably invest in the region of about $200 million. And it's actually by borrowing. And we hope that with the China-Nigeria swap that we are doing, it will be easier for the contractors like ECC to pursue their contracts to fruition. Because the minister has also spoken to these companies to please come in and fund. and then, probably under a deferred payment term. So I don't really think it's, yes, the financing is a problem, but then we are limited with what we have already. So it's actually by going into this kind of structures where you concession some, or you get the building contractor to actually deploy, to invest his own funds, and of course get paid with time, and that's what they're already doing.
Okay, Anthony, a good solution would be a good PPP model. We know that we've had issues with that in the past, but speaking to a number of analysts on this issue, they say that Nigeria has learned some lessons, and that they believe that we are able to come up with better PPP models for key projects. But what are your thoughts on that issue?
Yes, the few PPPs done so far haven't been quite wonderful. But we have one, at least one that has actually done very well. That's the GAT terminal on the aviation side. So we have actually learned our own lessons from the previous PPE models. So the rail sector, aviation sector, is something that is run by the private sector with government backing or with government owning it. So we can't be alone on that island. It still remains the best way to go, and with all that has been learned from the mistakes of the past, I don't see that being any problem with deploying that same model, and I actually see that catalyzing the fruition of the rail sector and including the aviation sector. The airports are about to be concessioned. The transitional advisors had been appointed to work out a formula, and we know that has caused some lashback from workers. But really, it's the way to go, really. If the national carrier is be floated this year, then we need to get our house in order. And surely the way it's running now, it's not profitable to the government.